Tonight, mass protests paralyzing much of Israel as the country's rolling political crisis appears to be coming to a head. Demonstrators swarming onto platforms at major train stations, while these military veterans chain themselves together in front of the defense ministry. At least 45 people arrested, police using water cannon to clear crowds from a major highway. All of it in protest against Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's plans to weaken Israel's Supreme Court. And after 6 months of stops and starts, Netanyahu now looks ready to ram the first part of his legislation through parliament as early as this weekend.
For 29 weeks in a row, protesters have flooded this square in Tel Aviv, but while they've managed to slow down Netanyahu's legislation, they haven't yet stopped it.
These protesters outside the U.S. Embassy, hoping that a last-minute American intervention might force their government to back down. But while President Biden has repeatedly expressed concern about Netanyahu's plan, he said nothing publicly today during a meeting with Israeli President Isaac Herzog. And some protesters frustrated that Biden this week extended an invitation to Netanyahu to visit the U.S.
This is bad for the Israeli protest movement. What message is this sending? A tyrant who seeks to dismantle democracy, and you're inviting him to the Oval Office? This is unacceptable.
Netanyahu says the legislation will curb activist judges, starting with this week's bill which strips the Supreme Court of the power to rule government actions unreasonable. The court used that clause to stop Netanyahu appointing a man convicted of tax fraud to a senior cabinet post. Tonight, growing numbers of reservist Air Force pilots say they'll refuse to show up for duty if the government pushes ahead. And protesters vowing to fight on even if the bill goes through, leaving Israel a nation deeply divided against itself.
And even as protests continue here, Israel's president is expected to address a joint session of Congress in Washington tomorrow. He's likely to get a bipartisan welcome, but some progressive Democrats, including Representatives Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ilhan Omar, have said they will not attend in protest at Israel's treatment of the Palestinians.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.